Okay. Hey, little man.
Hey there.
Hey.
Yeah. It's been nonsense.
Are you guys recording already?
Hold on.
Yes, we're recording. It says recording, so I think it's recording.
That's wonderful.
Oh, jeez. All right, let's get started, man.
Is he in there, Darcy?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
This is sad.
Whoa, here we go. Maybe.
He said,
maybe.
one light goes out, they all go out.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now it's connecting again.
This gravy is too lumpy.
Mike from Florida.
Oh, there he
Gotta
is.
speak up, Mike. We can't.
Come in.
Yes.
Bye.
There's dust on these mints. There's dust on these mints. Oh, hey, Jack. What's up?
Hey, did you see our special guest?
Jason,
Hey, how's it going?
good man. Nice to see you back.
Good to be here.
We got a full rectangle going on here now.
I like this.
Yeah,
Freaking awesome.
technically, you have to come on every once in a while, Jason, because your pictures and our logo and my sister's just dragging ass taking you off of it.
That's fine.
Every once in a
twice
while.
month.
So today we're going to talk about Intellivision versus Atari.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
Television. B-17 bomber, baby.
Yeah, all day.
B-17 ball.
Is it,
I
yeah,
remember. I remember
I love
Outlaw.
that stuff, man. I love that stuff.
it's talking. Space Spartans. That was another one.
My favorite, I think I had Cubert on that one.
Hubert. Oh, Tempest. What about Tempest?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Tempest is
So-
big.
Who
So,
was the one that came
And
up
Burger
with
Time.
this week?
well, we had talked about it. So yeah, we're in a previous episode. We started talking about BBSs, which are Bulletin Board Systems.
I like BBWs.
What's a BBW?
Nothing.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I,
So
I know what that is.
okay. So the reason I thought it was an interesting topic was, again, I'm not super technical. I got into this just mainly because I thought it was cool, and I kind of faked my way through a lot of it, and actually I ended up learning Pascal and C+ because I was just so interested in the BBS world. But so back in the 80s, before the internet, I mean, the internet was around, but before people, regular people were using it, and it started in like the early, Darcy may know better than I, but probably the early 80s.
I was like
Early
13, 12 or 13, Jason, when I got into that whole thing. Somewhere around there.
For me,
I
it
had
was
my
like
Commodore 64.
I had Commodore 64. Bitches.
And I kind of just like accidentally like got into it. I didn't know anyone, and I think I saw something on one of those like it was some kind of magazine or something, and I went into some very general bulletin board system.
Now,
And-
wasn't Commodore 64, just to bring back to that for a second, didn't that stand for 64K?
Okay, right.
Isn't that hilarious?
that's the memory. Yeah, that was the RAM.
Well, the Apollo missions were run on computers with like less than that.
My first computer was a VIC-20, which had 5K of RAM,
Wow.
and I could write programs that would run out of RAM when I was like 7 or 8
Wow.
because
Yeah,
it was only 5K of RAM. It was like nothing.
I remember. Well, let's get back to the BBSs, because this is gonna go off and branch off into other things.
Yeah,
Right,
and-
right.
So, and Darcy and I will get into it. So basically, my own personal experience with it, which is, it's always just been interesting to me. So I got into it. I had some friends that were into it way more than me. They had a couple BBSs that they were operating. I had one good friend in high school that was really into it, and he was, hooked up with that whole subculture. So I got into it through him, and then I wanted to kind of do my own board as well. So basically, these were basically, programs that you could run on your own home computer. You had to have a dedicated, it didn't have to be dedicated, but if you didn't want it to get interrupted, you would have to have a dedicated phone line into your computer. You would set up message boards. They would call them like subboards. And you could assign
There were forums,
and you could allow other users. Like I could say, "Hey Tom, you can be the operator of this like subboard on my system," and you would
sysop.
like sysop or a co-sysop. So the sysop like ran the board, the co-sysop was on there. So Tom could like have a subboard on my BBS where he could talk about whatever he wanted. Now the thing is, only one person could get on at a time if you had one line. If you had multiple lines, you were like a big deal.
And you had software that could support it.
And you had software that could support it. So one person would call in at a time, and they could go through all the subboards. I think I had like 10 on mine, and have all these different conversations.
What year were you doing this, Mike? What year would you say this is?
I'm going like
late 86.
This must have been like 85, 86.
Yeah.
Something
That's
like that.
way back. Okay.
Late 86, early 87. So people would go through, you'd have like 10 or 12 conversations going on. And so it's sort of like Facebook or Twitter now where people would post, but it was like one at a time per conversation. And people would be dialing in and getting a busy signal, waiting for someone ahead of them to get off. So as a sysop, if someone was like a good user, you would like allow them, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But if someone was a jerk, they could only get on for like 5 minutes or something like that. And the system would hang up on them, after that. And then it branched out into games, and they actually had online games. One that was big when I was a kid was Trade Wars. I don't know if
I
Darcy
remember.
Oh, yeah.
that.
Do you remember
you
this
could, like-
Bruce Lee game?
I'm sorry?
It was a Bruce Lee game.
That you could play online?
Yeah,
That was a turn-based game?
No, it was like, left, right arrows, and he could kick or punch, and he could run and jump and kick people. But it cost like $13 a month to have it, and there was like 20 games, and you'd only
Is
get
this like CompuServe or something? Because this is all,
something like that. And
so
you get
CompuServe kind of came after the BBSs, but the thing is,
CompuServe was before.
Was
So-
it before?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't-
CompuServe was before.
I remember
CompuServe is what helped me with all the.
I got a modem, like it's just this little brown thing. I paid like an exorbitant amount for it. It was like a 300 baud modem. And I remember constantly, because we didn't have two phones. So it was constantly like my dad would pick up the phone, call somebody, beep, boop, 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 beep, beep. Turn off that goddamn.
Yeah, man, I got a job to get my own phone line. My parents let me get my own phone line, which was like a huge deal, but I had to pay for it. But the thing is, so the board I had was mostly like conversation games like that. But there was this entire other thing going on that was a lot of illegal stuff. Phreaking, which was like taking people's like calling card numbers, stealing credit card numbers to buy stuff. Downloading and transferring hacked pirated software. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys remember like the Sierra game series, like King's Quest,
Leisure Suit Larry.
Like, we would get those games like 2 weeks before they hit the stores. Like, they would be like already cracked. Of course, it'd take you like 11 hours to download it or something like that,
To transfer 1 mega data took like 10 minutes.
Things. You remember you could get this thing, and sometimes all you had to do to hack the game was take a hole punch to the other side and flip it over
on the disc.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
That's what made it able to read. But I got a hilarious story on this. Or to me at least, it's funny. So there's this kid. He was a bag of dicks, right? He would we used to collect comics, and one time I like left the room. You remember him, Chuck?
Oh, Charles,
yeah. So he would steal steal my comics when I left the room, and I had like number 100 X-Men where Magneto takes over leading the X-Men, like good comics. And so this was right when I was moving to Florida, Darcy. I think you'll remember this. So I came over. His mom loved me, but he was an asshole. So,
oh no, you mean Chuck, the one who lived near Escalante Court?
The fat kid, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
Chuck,
I remember him.
That's Chuck.
You used up all
He's a bad guy every episode.
You used his copy software. Oh wow, dude.
So check
I
this out.
remember
So,
he had Archon and
yeah, he had everything. Archon.
he
That was
had
a
all
great
the
game.
Ultima
So this is what I
series.
did. He had these. He bought these discs that had like a program so that you could copy games, right? And it had so
So
many
it would break
copies.
it would break the software
Would break them.
protection.
Yeah.
And it
But it would
had
do
so
it-
many
it would do
copies
it
of
in-
it that you could make.
It would do it in a bit transfer, so it would break the copy protection as it was doing the copy,
Yeah.
and it only had so many that you could do
Yeah.
as far as the origin discs,
Yeah.
the original discs or whatever. So
And you can make a couple
he
copies
ended
of
up-
that disc.
He ended up screwing up, making like 2 of them, and then he was finally able to make one on the third. So he used up all of his extra copies that he could make.
Well, no. See, that's not what happened. Just
Okay.
before I moved to Florida, like a day before I moved to Florida, I went over and I told his mom, because they didn't have cell phones and all these other ways to contact the kid, and he was off on a vacation or something. And I was like, yeah, he said I could come over and copy some of his games. So I went up and I copied his copying disc. I screwed up 2 of them.
That's what I said.
And then no, but I did it. Chuck didn't do it. I did it.
No, I was saying you did that.
Oh, okay.
He was bitching to me what you did.
And then yeah, and then I copied a bunch of his games and moved to Florida.
Yeah, did you steal it? Did you steal his porno too?
Nah, they didn't have the abundance of porn that we
Yeah,
are
back then it was
having
yeah.
now.
No,
it
I
was
meant
all
like-
ASCII. It was all like ASCII print, like
Yeah.
Right. It was like
It was
No,
all that
I-
stuff
no.
where like
I's and
commas
O's.
and
it was
No,
all
I-
it was like that
I
stuff
meant
where
The
like
actual magazines.
No, I meant the actual magazines out of his room.
oh no.
Mm. They're probably all sticky.
Yeah, porn on computers back then was no good.
Yeah. Well,
It was like you've got it out and then you're waiting, watching the picture slowly.
no, I was talking about Revenge for the comic books.
Nah, I never got my revenge for that. Well, I did.
Yeah, you
because
did.
those
You
copying
did.
discs were like $50 a pop, you know?
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, what was that
Terrible.
thing called? It was something parameters or
There used to be like a market for which one was the best one and all that. But this
now
is still
that
back in
that
the
all
the-
happened
Wait,
just
So
before.
wait, go back to what you were saying, Michael.
well, no, I was just giving the lay of the land. So
Oh, okay.
like a BBS like what I ran was pretty benign, but there were ones, and again, these were being run by grown men and kids, right? Everyone in
Yep.
between. And since everyone had an alias, you never knew who was doing what. But I mean, there were boards where you'd get dial in. Like if you could get the number, you'd dial in and there would just be like a cursor, like war games. Like on mine BBS, when you logged on, it was like all these graphics, like which were pretty cheesy at the time. But there were some you just get like a cursor. And in these pirate boards, you'd have to upload a certain amount. You'd get like 10 times the download credit for everything you would.
Yeah, you had to
would
move
upload.
wares.
Yeah,
You had to move wares.
yeah, exactly.
So-
WAREZ.
when I got into it, I met these guys and it was on CompuServe. It wasn't a magazine, it was CompuServe. And I met these guys, they gave me this BBS, I got on, started making some friends. I came up because at first I just used my name. I wasn't cool, I wasn't in yet. And then
Oh yeah, you're super cool now.
and then well, compared to you. So I ended up getting an alias. I met in with some guys. They had a cracking group called More Stupid Initials. There was this guy, Bud Rowe, and he had showed me how to hack PBXs so you could have like conference
What's a
lines.
PBX?
I forget what it stood for, but it's basically a conference line that a business would have, and it's just an open circuit, so it's always on. So you can dial into this thing, and it's kind of like the party lines, the way the party lines are. But like all the big companies had them, so Sperry, IBM, any big company that you could think of, they had these PBX lines, and you can have these different. I guess like phone boxes that you could join in groups and just have meetings, voice conferences or whatever.
Was
But we
this
take these.
was this when you were at Langston Hughes?
No, so this was right at I guess it was the summer. It was like 8th grade. It was
So
like
this
the
is
summer
after you
8th
had
grade.
the Michael Jackson Jerry curl. God, I'd kill for one of those pictures. Oh
Look
boy.
good, probably.
So,
Gotta let
so
your
this
soul
guy
go.
who introduced me to all this
Soul
stuff,
glow.
and I got into distributing wares. I get into really good BBSs. I get the extra time that you were talking about, Mike. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And then as things started, I got deeper into it. I started like getting into making long distance calls, and I was using my the money, paper route money to pay for long distance calls. Back then, it was really expensive, right?
Very expensive.
So I heard about this thing called we had this thing called war dialing, and I heard that some guy had made a war dialer. He had modified it so it would call like all the card companies, the LD card companies. It would automatically put in the suffix and prefix and suffix. You have a random number in between, which was 5 or 6 digits, and then you have it called like CompuServe. And you would take this if it was a successful call to CompuServe where it received the signal and it connected it, it would save, right? So I was like, hey, maybe I should try and do the same thing. So this guy, Anthony, well, I won't say any names. This guy I knew, Bud Rowe, he helped me along with modifying this war dialer. And I want to say this guy named, it was like megahertz or something like that. He did the machine language side, which was the Pascal, which I didn't
All
know.
of them lived in their basement, their mother's basement.
It was like megahertz, like HURTZ
we were
or something.
We
Probably.
were 13.
Yeah.
What's
Damn.
the point of that? Is that just to get a free connection?
Right. So what I would do is I would set this thing up and it would just run over and over again. Like I'd set it up before I went to bed at night. And I'd wake up the next morning and I might have like 30 or 40 good codes. And not only did I, use the codes for myself, I also gave them to friends like Zeus. But I would also charge people. I would, if you paid me like, $30 a month, I'll keep you with good codes. Because I get like, every week I was easily getting probably a couple of hundred good codes that would, at least last for a month or so before people get their bill and they're like, whoa, I didn't make any of these calls.
I mean, that's
the
thing that was crazy. Like all these like telecom companies, like MCI, the Bells, AT&T,
MCI.
they
Jesus.
weren't. No one was thinking about security. Like, and so you had these teenagers that were like cracking this stuff.
I mean, hell,
clear
boxes still work back then. Like you could, so you can get on the coin operated phones, and you could just have a recording of the
tones,
not the tone, but the quarter or the coin going in. You could have a recording of those and just play it over and over again, and it actually registers as actual money. And so you learn a few things like. I guess some of the guys that I was in with, they were friends with some people that worked at telecom companies. So every month there would be like a secret password. So you should call the operator and say, you just hit O, operator answers, what do you need or whatever they said. And you go Blackhawk and then say the number, because that would be the code that month, right? So you say Blackhawk and the number that you wanted, and the operator would forward you on to that number. So you get a free phone call. So I didn't have to even carry around quarters or do all that stuff anymore.
So
yeah, Darcy used to put them. He used to scratch them into the. They had that like metal part on the bottom, like a desk of sorts. He would scratch the codes into the thing, so everybody would just go up to that payphone and make long
Could use
distance
it.
calls because everybody knew it.
And
So-
the context. So I mean, again,
Wait, that's like a public service.
Yeah, he's Robin Hood.
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely. It was very much more friendly. At least my experience with it. But looking back, and at the time, I didn't even think it was weird. But for I got this new computer, 20 meg hard drive. I was like in heaven, and I'd be using it. My parents would be like watching 60 Minutes or something, and I'm like, downloading like pirated software, like, trading like credit card numbers and stuff like, oh, how you doing? Oh, great. Would you like some popcorn? Okay. Like, they had no idea what was going on.
You guys, I didn't do any of this.
I even knew how to
stuff.
check to make sure you had a good card. So like every month we would get a like a number you could call and you could verify, and you charge like a small amount, like $2 or something,
But $2
so it doesn't raise.
Was
Doesn't
like
raise any-
$10 now.
It doesn't, but it wouldn't raise any suspicions really, So it would be some small charge like hex or something. So you pretend
That's
that you're
like
hex,
Goonies.
and you do this all, voice, and guys would put out a whole script of what you should say, the numbers that you can call to verify a card. It was really cool stuff. I was doing that when I was like 13, 14.
The cool part about it is, and again, there's a
Jack looks
continuum.
disgusted.
Well, there's a continuum right into today, and that's why this isn't just like ancient history. There is definitely an arms race. What Darcy and I are talking about was like bows and arrows, and now it's like lasers or whatever. But
Star Destroyers.
Star Destroyers. At the time. But the thing is, it was definitely these huge multi-million-dollar at the time companies. They were getting picked apart by teenagers, and it was the arms race was the computer technology and the amount of crunching power that these computers have, like the war dialer that Darcy's talking about, and that it was like this arms race.
Did they?
Oh, you want to hear another
No.
cool thing that I could do? One of those recorders, like when people could call and leave a message, like you had a little tape recorder at your house.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone have those?
Oh yeah.
I could easily break into those. I could whistle. Because what I would do is I would call and I
You
could
could hear
whistle.
people's messages.
Right, and I would just play around, and after about a minute or so, I could get in, listen to all your messages, everything. There was like no security.
You could do so. There were, and I don't know what these are called. Darcy may remember, but
Wait.
with the Bell companies, there were codes that you could pick up any phone and key, like star 69, or making.
No,
a phone
there were
ring
some.
back.
There were some like numbers that you could call, and you know how you would call like a service, and there would be like a pause, and then you hear like it would dial for you. Like there was I can't remember the 3 numbers that you had to hit. It was like star and then 030. You had to do that really quick, and then whatever that it would like not register because it was saying, okay, ignore the next sounds that are coming through or whatever, right? And then you hit star something else again, and then you have that dial tone. That was another way that I could make free phone calls if I had to make a long distance phone call. And that was like,
Wait, but how did you guys learn all this stuff from like
From the
older
BBSs.
pick it up from other people
And from the
Yeah,
BBSs, it was this whole like subculture.
like that stuff, like all that stuff had been going on since the 70s.
So like
this
was internet, but not World Wide Web. Think of it that
Well,
way.
It was
right.
So what happened
Yeah,
was,
but everybody's sharing trade secrets. It sounds like why?
Well,
Well, it
no,
was
it's not everybody. First, you had to get in.
But here's to give
First,
you
you
some
had to get
perspective,
in.
Jack. 2 things. This is about where we were talking about is right around 85, 86. War Games came out in 83.
No, I know that.
But to give you perspective, this was a serious enough crime that Darcy actually had the FBI visit him at his home.
No, I don't doubt that. I just can't imagine that a bunch of kids learned how to do this stuff from like these old wizened mentors from the 70s that just felt like sharing.
But some of it you could come up with on your own. Like there were manuals. So okay, so what was the name that they used to call this? It was like where they would have these conventions where you could go and buy like all this old like ham radio operator.
Oh yeah, I
fluid.
met a lot of ham operators.
And
back
they
then.
would,
Yeah.
we would go.
Yeah.
My friend's dad was an engineer who worked for IBM, and we would go to these like they were like a flea market, and you could go there, and they would have like a manual for like linemen for Bell telephone, and they had all these codes that were in this, and you would buy it for like $3 or something.
So it was kind of like the internet now, going to those conventions, like basically
it was like a flea market, and there were codes.
There was a time with phones where if you had one of those blue ones that the phone guy carried around, you could use that. All you had to do is clip it to the wires in your phone box. God, remember those on your house phone box? You could click it in that. You could call anywhere. It was like a golden key.
Yeah, I wish I could have gotten those. I never really had that much money, and I was never. And when I did, I was never thinking about something like that.
Darcy was probably getting free cable on his own, like when he was 15.
Now listen, there were no girls on the BBSs. I know that may be shocking.
That's the downside.
But there's a lot of guys that said they were girls.
Yeah, there were probably a lot of guys that said they
So
were
it
girls.
is the internet.
Just it is the internet
in the park, but not near the parking lot.
I never met any chicks back then. At least not on that.
So the
are you a great big fat person?
So what ended up happening was these, again, because technology is like this creeping thing, right? It always advances. So you had these BBSs, and people the technology got to the point where they would interlink. So at night, if you were on, I can't remember the term, but there were like basically clubs of BBSs or like groups.
Right. And what they would do is redistribute the posts
throughout each other, so they would have common boards.
It was like Silacast kind of.
So like my board was called Chronic Town,
or syndicated. It was like kind of syndicated. So. Chronic.
Not from weed, based on the early REM EP. Chronic
Town. He was ahead of his time by
ahead of my time. But so
15 years.
So someone could log on to
Chronic Town. That's
someone
the
could,
worst.
But someone could log on to like another BBS in like Michigan and talk to people that were on my BBS, which was like crazy.
The Mike T-shirt.
What? Chronic Town.
Chronic Town.
So and they were.
I'm sorry.
No, that's cool, man. But so people would they were called nodes, okay? And so you would get in, and then these little clubs, like you would have better ones that would have like, oh, we have 30 nodes, man. So like when you're talking on our board, you're talking to like people, and this was not just regional, it was national, it was international. There were people from all over the world. It didn't matter, because no one was paying for the long distance fees. So
man, I remember my first illegal long distance phone call. It was to a bulletin board that was in the 888 area code. And 808.
You would learn your area codes, I'll tell you that.
It was 808. Yeah. It was 808. And so it was somewhere.
What was the area code in Chronic Town?
It was like Los Angeles. It was somewhere near Los Angeles. And I thought that was really cool. And I really liked this board. It was a Wares board. And I remember my first upload, it was some kind of German / it was some kind of weird porn thing. And people liked it. It got a whole lot of downloads, and I had uploaded. I didn't crack it. Someone in this group called More Stupid Initials (MSI), they cracked it, and they gave it to me, and I distributed it. So there were certain spots that I would hit, and I would make sure I always hit this one spot first, because I don't know. I had some kind of, I don't know, that was just my place, I guess, because that was the first place I ever gone to. So, but it was
how are you
It's all these stupid little memories that keep on popping up now. Like I remember we would have these phone calls. Like now by this time I'm like, I guess I'm like 15. So now I'm starting to go out and hang with friends, maybe get a little inebriated and then come back home. And then late at night, we have these phone calls where we're talking about how we're going to do this or that. What's the new cracks that are coming out? You know, how we're going to get that new game or whatever. And then distributed who's going to do all that. And so because it was almost like, you know, you're trying to get your name out there.
Yeah.
That was the main thing.
It was definitely
your name out there.
It was
like
definitely
tagging.
there was definitely some bragging rights. I mean, it was the closest thing that I can compare it to is like, you know, like hip hop almost. Like people had reputations. It was like bragging rights. It was like what games you got, like what it was that was the commodity. Like the games were the commodity. And if you got them sooner than someone else, you were cooler. And like the boards that were associated with you were cooler.
Wares.
Cool wares.
K
I remember that.
LDRE.
Yeah, if you had a
Right.
Commodore 64 back in the day, Darcy and I that's one of the ways that Darcy and I hooked up as friends: comic books and video games.
Yeah.
And if you had a Commodore 64 back in the day when it came out, you were the fucking cool kid. Like everybody came over to your house to play games.
Yeah, I remember that, Zeus. I remember people that had it, and then I had it, but they weren't all people that got to the point where these guys are. Like they just played like Summer Olympics on it or
Summer
Pitfall.
Olympics.
Yeah, so like
You know? Like,
my system.
just-
So like my system, I had 2 1541 drives, and I want to say the 3.5-inch drives that I got, those were 1571s.
See, this
Do you
is what I'm
remember mine?
talking about.
I don't
No,
remember
man.
exactly, but
I
So
had
I
an
had-
Amiga.
so I
That's
had them all stringed
128K, bitch.
So I had 2 1541s and two 1571s. Those are the 3.5-inch. Those were 720K. Those
oh
drives.
yeah.
And the 1541s were wow, I can't even remember what the size of those floppies were.
Our computers
The
were
big ones, the 5
64K. My watch is 8 gigabytes.
Yeah, I mean, so this arms race, the thing that ended up putting the kibosh on the wares trade after a while, at least in my experience, was like I think King's Quest like 6 or whatever. It was like 12 discs. It was like so big. Like people were having a hard time. Like, you know, I think when I got a 2400 baud modem, I thought I was like the shit. But people had 56 and 12.2 or whatever. I don't remember what the
I think
Where it went
Must have been
end
the
was
King of Chronic Town.
it was like
The King of
34. I think the fastest speed was like 34K. It was something like that, 34K per second, somewhere around there. Because I remember I had a USR Robotics V32 BIS. It was the big wide black. It looked like a sports car. It was like a Maserati, you know, sitting on your computer, sitting on your desk. But that was a badass. What was your first real computer? So like in 87, at the end of 87, my mom basically gave me a choice. She was like, I'll help you get a car or I'll help you get a computer. And I pondered about it for about 2 or 3 weeks. It was the end of the year. And I was like, you know, I think I'm going with a computer. And so a buddy of mine, Jason's dad, he went and bought all these parts and put together a computer for me. The guy that we're going to go, the guy whose property that we're going to go to, his dad sold me my first computer. He set up a contract. My mom signed it. It was like $4,000. And
wow, yeah,
It was 465K.
I had a 286, 12 megahertz.
Oh wow,
640K of RAM.
So it's nerd
20
talk.
20 megabyte hard drive. With it was a 9600 V32 BIS. modem. Oh, right. And I remember that when he was going through the whole list
So
Gone.
excited.
of everything.
My
'cause
favorite
my mom's
episode.
there. My
He's
mom's
gone.
there and
This is
everything.
fascinating. No,
And
I
when
love
he
it. I
mentions
love
the
it.
modem, when he mentions the modem, he goes, and a V32 bis modem. My mom turns to me and she goes, "Is there gonna be a problem?" Because there had been this whole thing where I got caught, right? And so I wasn't allowed to connect a computer to any fucking thing for like over a year, And she was like, "Is there gonna be a problem?"
Is there
I was
going to
like,
be a
"No,
problem?
Mom." I was
I
like,
rem-
"No,
So
I'm all done."
my dad was great because we got the VIC 20 and like I tore through that in like 6 months, and then we got some IBM clone, and like I tore through that, and then he knew some guy that was like building computers, and he was like, he had me talk to this guy, like, because my dad wasn't into it, but his friend was like building computers. He's like, tell him what you want, and I told him, and it was like a Christmas present, and it wasn't really anything that crazy at the
Be
time.
right back. I'm gonna go shoot myself in the face.
It was pretty modest. Whoa, where you? But anyway, so to bring this back to, again, I'm not trying to stay down memory lane necessarily, but the thing that was intriguing to me when I was thinking about this again, because I think about it from time to time, there's so many issues that we dealt with there that we're still dealing with this technology and how we communicate with each other online. Like I remember back in the 80s,
I remember this like a little bit.
content moderation, like people getting on and shit posting and stuff. Like people were doing that in 87.
Oh yeah,
like
flame wars,
like all this stuff. And it was ruthless. Like people would get, like, if you had enough clout, if you were like enough of a badass,
oh,
as
you
far
get
as
someone
like
totally
you could get people
banned
thrown
from,
off
everything.
like you could,
Everything.
if someone crossed you, you could like destroy them, and it's
Yeah.
sort of like, it's like Jack Dorsey is the BBS king of
You definitely had to know
2021.
what the pecking order was.
It was hard to
and-
know.
and-
It
and
was
the
like a
more-
little. It was like a little
and the more
society.
you were in,
Yeah, it was like a little
the more
society,
you were in the things.
but it was
like when I started
nationwide.
getting on those PBX calls, you had to know, like, when certain people were on, just shut the fuck up.
But
And
there
just
were alliances.
let
There were
them-
alliances that you didn't even know about, dude. There were like links. You could be messing with someone, you didn't know who their friend was or who they were associated with. It was like the Wild West.
Can you imagine if some of those old timers that ran the roost were around now, when everybody can do whatever they want? They would just be like flipping out.
I think it's still. Here's my thing.
Yeah,
I think it's the same
still
dynamic.
there. There's
just
still,
bigger.
okay.
It's
do
just
you
bigger
understand
now.
that the part of the internet that you use is like a very small part of it? Like I got on the internet before there were browsers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the first time I had it, I got in with this. There was a company called Radix that was out in somewhere in Maryland that I got an account with, and back then it was the information superhighway.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
And there would be these ads, right?
No.
And
no
there was
graphics.
no such thing as a browser. So
Yeah.
I used things like Punter and Gopher and all
I-
these weird apps to
Web crawler.
search for things. Right, web crawlers. Right. But there was no graphics and stuff. It was kind of like the BBS world, but except you had access to everything, but you didn't know where anything was. So you had to manually search for it, kind of.
So what?
Yeah,
So
I
you're
know.
basically, it's command line, like.
Yeah. Pretty much command line. Yeah.
The first time I
And,
saw,
and the cool thing about it was back then, that was when I was working at Goddard Space Flight Center. So I had a pretty fast connection, because I didn't have to dial up. I thought that was cool. I could connect to Radix through that. And I had this like a bin, like it was just drive space at Radix. So I could go somewhere and download stuff and it would automatically go to that drive space that I had at Radix, and then I could download it later to my computer. But like I would do all these searches, and mostly at first it was just like lyrics of songs. that was the big thing for me, at least around 91, 92.
that's early. That is very early.
Yeah.
I remember
I was
the
looking
first
for
time,
lyrics of songs.
The first time I saw what we now know as the internet was 94. My friend was a PhD candidate at Penn State, and we had to go from his house onto campus into like whatever lab he was in. He's electrical engineer, PhD candidate. And he's like, sits me down because he was like my friend on the BBSs. He's like, get a load of this. And it was all text. And like there were certain words that were highlighted in blue.
Sorry, I got a call.
And if you clicked on those words or phrases, it would take you to like another site. And this was all like intercollegiate.
You've got mail.
What is that, your watch? But anyway, again, I'm not trying to go down memory highway.
I can't believe we just jumped from that to that. And we're now we're in the 90s. And
Right,
we
now
have
we're in the
the
90s.
internet.
But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is I see stuff today, like when people talk about like free speech online, things being traded back and forth that are illegal. It's the same shit. It's just bigger.
Lots of things have changed because I remember
the
when
dynamic
I
is
was-
the same though.
when I was in my late
Yeah, I see what
teens,
you're saying.
early 20s, I was telling a buddy of mine who lives across the street, as a matter of fact, I was telling him, I was like, one day you're going to have computers and no one's going to be talking about megahertz, gigahertz, all that stuff. It's just not going to be a thing. And we just recently got there, like over the last like 5 years, we got there where it's a computer. I don't know, any gigahertz, because it used to be like a sports car, or like when people had their what do you call it, hot rod or whatever. I got so many megahertz and all this stuff.
No one cares anymore.
And no one cares. All
Your
you care
phone,
about is,
my phone
does it do what I need it to do? I mean,
crushes my first computer. My first computer was an E-machine. It was a 486 with an 4 gigabyte hard drive, which was fucking amazing at the time.
Yeah, I had a little.
Another 4 gigs for like $300. It was ridiculous. But there's also things that we don't even notice changing. Like remember you used to have to defrag your hard drive?
Yes.
And now it still has the app in your computer, but it's like, I did that already. Leave me alone. I've been defragging myself for years.
You should have gotten a Mac. It just does it all by itself. You don't have to tell it to take care of itself.
Who has run out of hard drive space anytime?
I'm actually trying to get I don't know how to defrag this laptop.
It does it on its own by now.
Well, don't you have some windows? Are you on like the second or third floor of some place? Just throw it out.
I'm on like the 20th floor. It'll kill somebody.
But there was definitely kind of like a moment where like people started coming into the BBS world that were not like it was getting known, and they started coming. They were posers. They hadn't earned it. They didn't know what they were doing. They were just kind of getting into it. And I remember thinking,
recognize.
it's like, oh man, it's over. It's like 1980. I'm like, man, it's over. Like the golden days are done. All the idiots are on now, or whatever.
Yeah, the posers are on.
The posers.
That's what I was trying to say before. Like nowadays, the people that are old school like you must look at all these spoiled bastards.
Oh, nowadays there's tons of script kiddies.
Kitties. Well, whatever you call them.
All the hacking and all that stuff. It's some program that you downloaded from somebody else. They did all the work. You just run it. A few things. You don't do all the hard work to get it.
But I will say this.
Get off my Zeus. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, but
Get off my virtual lawn.
Look, the one thing is nothing really changes that much. I know that there's kids out there now. I'm sure there's teenagers that are doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh yeah,
that we don't know about.
The whole dark web. I mean, have you ever messed with news groups and all that stuff, Mike?
I haven't. No.
I mean, there's a whole part of the internet and it's where all this stuff is going on, like the dark web. Like,
is that real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's very real. Very real.
It's the same shit, man.
4chan's an interesting one too.
No, that's everybody knows about 4chan now.
4chan is kind of a conduit to the dark web. That a lot of the stuff you see there comes from the dark web.
But
what's
dark,
happening in the dark
Because there
web?
used to be this area called the Silk Road where you could get drugs, everything.
Oh yeah.
Anything you wanted.
Is the dark web just like less popular internet sites? Like, is that what we're talking about? Like,
No,
No,
podcasters?
no. There's a now.
Because that means we're the dark web. Because we have like 4
A
people.
long time ago, I
We are the dark web.
We are the
We have
dark
become-
web.
We have become what we have feared. Yes.
We'd like to be the light web, but we're
All
dark.
I know is I have no idea what's going on these days, but I know some shit's going on. That's what I know, because it's the same. We all think we're special. We're not special. It's just every generation has its thing. So I'm sure it's going on. I'm just not privy to it.
I'm saying if there's a combination of slashes and .coms that are going to lead me to something dark and secret, then tell me what I should type in and I'll do it, because I want to go there.
So
no.
from my
You
understanding,
don't want to go there.
Yeah,
You don't want to go there.
Yeah.
You don't
From
wanna
my
go
understanding, the dark web is where you'll get a lot of cash transactions for drug deals. In fact, like cryptos, they use cryptos because it's not, you can't trace it.
Like
Yeah, but
I lost interest in it. I lost interest in it once I found out that once you get on, if the FBI ever finds out that you have had access to it, if they ever get whip of you, you'll be a permanent record. And I was like,
but if I'm just typing a bunch of slashes and clicks and I end up looking at... You're jumping through some hoops, and you're probably using some of that old stuff that I was mentioning, like Punter and Gopher and all that stuff. You're probably using those old protocols to access that stuff. So you're purposely going to that. That's a whole area where there's
not an accidental thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not like Minecraft where I open up in the netherworld.
No.
Like by accident.
No.
Okay.
But here's
All
the
right.
other thing. I've heard stories of people like going into the dark web and like they call it ghosting, where somebody will put stuff into your hard drive. So like all of a sudden the FBI comes to your house and you got fucking 10 gigabyte of kitty porn that you never got. They just
Zeus.
Dark web for that.
Zeus, stop it.
Yeah, right.
Dude,
Stop
Zeus.
trying to build your alibi.
Yeah.
I was talking about you, Jason.
Yeah, he's
No,
trying to protect
but
you.
they store it on other people's computers because they've already got access now. They can go back in and pull it out if they need it, but they hide it in your computer.
Yeah, they're
With
like
a lot
dark.
of viruses, though. They do that with a lot of viruses.
Yeah. Now I do nothing illegal. I buy everything. I'm an Apple user with I don't have a jailbroken phone or anything. I buy everything. I do nothing illegal.
So Darcy, I got a question. Darcy,
You're
I
a
got a question.
stand-up guy. You're a stand-up guy now.
No, I'm not a stand-up guy. I just don't want to deal with all the bullshit.
But here's a question, Darcy, and I'll tell you what my thought is. Do you feel like you have a handle on like where everything is at right now, or are you sort of just like, treading water? Like, do you have a handle on like where the technology is and the cutting edge of stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, it's pretty much my job.
Okay, I didn't, because I don't like. I feel like it passed me by.
I mean, I own an infosec company.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, check us out. SecureExperts.com.
Yeah.
With one E in the middle.
Such an old man, Mike.
Wait, no. This just tells our viewers that we actually know nothing about each other.
No, I just didn't know.
That's
It's Friends
fine.
of Zeus. It's Friends of Zeus.
I
didn't know that.
Jack. I've known you, well, as far as length of time, I've known you for what, 20 years? 20? Yeah. I've known Zeus since I was 12, so that's like 30 years or something like that. 40 years. Goodness.
No,
almost 40 years.
Yeah, Darcy.
I've known you since I was 17, Jack. Something like that. 17 or 18.
No,
Yeah.
more like your 20s, like 92.
I don't think I wasn't old enough to drink when I met you.
No,
You're always old enough to
Darcy.
No,
drink.
you were definitely old enough to drink.
No,
You're
Darcy
always
and
old
I.
enough to drink.
Guys,
I was
do
not
the
old
math.
enough to legally drink.
I've
I was
already
not
done
old
the math.
enough
It was
to legally
92,
drink.
94, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
and I have known each other about almost 30 years.
That's awesome, man. You can't make old friends, man.
Almost 30,
Yes.
same as Zeus.
Tom is my newest friend of Zeus, and he's still like 10, 15 years, probably.
Yeah, we go way back, but I don't know anything about any of you.
No, I've only known Zeus for what, 6 years, something like that.
Max is 4, so
Then,
add 2 years onto that.
5 years, yeah,
All right,
5 or 6 years.
what about Jason? How far does he and Zeus go back?
Probably about 20.
It can't be 20.
Close to it.
No.
Yeah, you're old fucker.
Yeah, I started at E-Trade.
E-Trade, Jesus.
That's in Bethesda.
No, in Arlington.
No, what was in? I remember playing cards at some place in Bethesda, at some office building in Bethesda or something.
Oh no,
like
that was when I worked for the lottery company where we bought people's annuities. That's a story for another day.
Oh, I
okay.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Zeus. I remember that job.
We're coming up on 20 years, Jason, at least.
Oh my God. The
No,
lottery.
because I didn't
That's
graduate.
awesome.
I didn't graduate.
Zeus
college
has
until
always been tricking his
2004.
friends into working at these places. Like he had me trying to work at this magazine place.
Oh, so wait, you were mentioning magazines. That's where Jack works, first of all, Smith Company. But
Yes.
I was remembering
you still
something
work
when.
for them?
Yeah, he worked with me. That's how we met.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
I was his boss.
Yeah, that was when Darcy was driving around with his Glock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Damn.
remember that. Yeah.
Way to get rid of those stereotypes.
I was like, wow, my friend's got a Glock. This is awesome. Oh God.
No, it was funny because Darcy was mentioning like back in those days, and I was remembering this. Remember that guy that we used to run around selling magazines for?
Dr. Soulberg.
The creepy. This guy was creepy.
pedophile.
He had a panel van.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
nothing but young boys working for him. He was a creepy
Piece of work.
All right, we're gonna get some sales tonight, aren't we, fellas?
Oh my God, he
He's
was
always chewing on some gum.
Yeah, he was an asshat.
Oh.
So let's fast forward a little bit
That
because
was well. Let me say one thing real quick for the audience. So, and I have not seen this.
all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them.
But there is. I was looking at my buddy. He's not my buddy, but Wayne Bell, who was the programmer for WW4, which was the program I used for my BBS. He's still around. But anyway, someone made a documentary called BBS the Documentary. It came out in 2005. It's like a 7-part series.
Oh my God. Yes.
I read through it. It seems it's everything. If anyone wants to learn about BBSs, it seems to be he's like the main subject in it. So I'm gonna try and look for it. But
Send me,
if you want more information,
when you
go
find
see
it.
that.
Hey, nah, dude, my cup is full on BBSs.
I'm talking about other people. Other people.
Sent you guys the link. There's a YouTube link for it. The whole like 4 or 5
Yeah,
hours.
we'll put that in.
Oh,
We'll put the link in for it. We'll put
I
the
think
link
it's
in for it.
sorry. I thought it was already in there. Okay.
Tom, are you talking into a moon or something?
Yeah, what is that?
That's no moon, it's a space station.
What is that thing? Is that a toy of some kind? What is that thing?
Hey, it's May the 4th. Come on, man.
Is that a droid? Oh, okay.
Ollie, my oldest son got a zit. And he's like, I got a zit. That's what I said to him. I said, that's no zit. Space station. He did not like that joke.
Oh man.
So wait, what were you, Zeus? What were you fast forwarding to?
I was gonna
COVID.
say, so how did
COVID?
here's the cool thing is we've gotten from there to where it was like beep boop beep 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 to put like, you know, little messages about, you know, what are you wearing, little boy? To being able to shoot somebody in the face in a video game that's in Japan, like Call of
Oh
Duty.
yeah, and it's only a few milliseconds of delay.
Right?
That's
It's ridiculous.
That's cool. I mean, fiber is freaking crazy. You know, fiber has like changed like everything.
But you can do it with Wi-Fi now too. Like Wi-Fi.
Well, no. So Wi-Fi is like it's the last I don't know 1,000th% of the whole journey of that signal. I mean, most of it's fiber. So
No.
So when you're on the gaming stuff, when you're doing all the gaming and everything, that's all going on fiber. So it's, you know, it takes like less than like an 1/8 of a second or whatever. It's milliseconds or whatever.
But I mean, we went from
in order for that signal to get across.
We went from like Lincoln Logs and ham radios, which I often refer to as like the original internet, like, you know, or original chat kind of situation.
Lincoln Logs.
Well, I'm saying, but we went from like Lincoln Logs and ham radios to.
I mean, dude, we've had
I can turn my phone into a remote
for over 110 years.
No, but Darcy, look what the kids have now. Is this point?
Our stuff sucked.
Like I was trying to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out. Is my son smarter than I was when I was 4?
I don't think so. I think it's the opposite.
But I do know this. I have this little picture. Let me show this to you.
Wait a minute,
when I was a kid.
Holy shit, the Earth is flat.
Hold it. Watch this. So this.
Is that Pennywise the clown?
I did this I made this when I was 3. But the big thing was I even wrote my name. I mean, you can see it like right here. I wrote my name, and I was 3.
Oh, it's Pennywise. It's horrible.
No, it's a butterfly.
No, it's fucking killer clown.
It comes through so clear.
Clearly, you're disturbed.
Modern technology.
So I write right here. You can see my name right there. I did it when I was 3 years old.
It really does have a Pennywise look to it.
And my primary colors there.
He knows the alphabet. He can count like to like 50, but he can't spell. You know, can't do his name.
So here's the thing. I think they're smarter, but they're lazier.
Think about it. They're not smarter because all this shit's coming to them easy. Like Michael, Darcy, you guys were learning all this DOS shit when you were like, you know, kicking around and fucking tidy whities and whatnot, you know, picking your nose. And these guys are playing video games, talking to some kid in Japan at the same time. And pretty soon they're going to do that with a hologram. Because what's the next step with the fiber optics? They're going to be able to play video games, and it's going to be virtual reality.
Eventually,
neural nets.
It'll be fiber optics all the way. You know, so I mean, right now it comes right to the back of my house.
But
fiber optics.
I don't
to the back of my house.
I don't think it's.
And then
making
it's only
them
copper
smarter.
for the last 10 feet.
I don't think it's making them smarter. I think it's making them dumber.
Less industrious. I think they are smarter because part of knowledge is the wealth of information that you have available at your hands. So I do think
they don't know how it works.
Into the woods to find our porn when we were kids.
But it's also
that as an example. But what I'm saying is that we had to work. If we wanted to learn about zebras, we had to go get. There was a lot of time.
Oh yeah, you had to really.
Now they have more time to learn.
Zeus, that's the point I'm making, though, is that we had to be smarter to figure shit out.
No, we had to be more industrious. We had to go to the library, which hop on your bike or whatever.
Yeah, but think about school. How does it make you smarter to know the answers in advance? I mean, you're not learning.
I remember when I was a little kid, like a lot of other kids had to come here to my house because I was like the only kid that had like a full encyclopedia, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
But again, it's being less industrious. It's not being dumber. They have more information at their disposal. So
yeah, well, maybe that'll make them smarter.
When it comes to you, the problem is there's too much information. But we've talked about that before. But the thing is Now, instead of having to get on your bike, ride all the way to the library and grab 2 or 3 books because you can't carry 10 of them, back
Hey,
home,
real quick,
So-
real quick.
you spend more
I want to
time.
do a little survey. Everyone tell me, how many passwords do you remember? Like you really remember.
I use
You
4
know
passwords.
those passwords.
I use
Huh?
4. I use
Use
4.
four.
I probably have about 8.
A lot. Yeah.
He's a password manager.
All right. Well, now I use a password manager, but at one
Maybe
time
5.
I knew about I'd say around 130, 140 passwords.
Holy crap.
And
Yeah,
it was
we used
all
to know
up here.
phone numbers, too.
I never
Yeah, no
wrote
shit.
anything down. Right. And I remembered all my phone numbers.
I used to remember phone
you know.
numbers.
And now today, I probably remember about maybe 40 passwords. And as far as phone numbers, maybe 10.
I've got like a phone book of passwords. I just write them
Hold it.
down.
Yeah, you should keep it right by the
no.
computer too.
No, no, Jack.
Get off of my lawn.
Jack. See, you're one of those people that gets all their shit stolen.
No, this wasn't the real. This wasn't the real notepad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need it. Just invest
real notepad's right here.
in a password service. You pay like
No.
$1 a month or something, and
No,
you're good.
no, because then
Yeah.
somebody else knows my
No,
password.
no, it doesn't work like that. It's encrypted. So if you lose the special key that they give you,
I have a
they
special
can't help you.
notebook. I have
no,
a
that's
special
not
notebook.
special. That's not special.
That's some of
It's
it. I hate those
I'm going to use the word. It's retarded.
Fine.
Ooh.
I'm gonna use another word, curmudgeon.
I still write checks and mail them.
Oh no, really?
No, you
Yes.
Oh
don't.
God.
Yes, I do.
You're so 2000.
I use stamps. I mail
As soon as
them.
anyone
These things.
says, so if I'm purchasing something for someone, if they say cash, I'm like block. And I go on to the next person selling something.
So speaking of stamps, so do you guys send like Mother's Day cards and stuff like that? Do you use stamps?
I email Mother's Day cards.
No,
Really?
I call and I say Happy Mother's Day. That's
Well, this is just
It's,
a lo-fi reminder that
I just call
Monday's Mother's Day.
to say I love
It is.
you.
It is Mother's Day.
Yep, it's coming right up.
But I'll say, and
You have plans. Jack. What are you doing?
I'll talk to her.
You live with her.
Yeah, I know. I'll talk to her.
You have to open the door to your room.
Yes. Hey, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
See you later.
See you later. That's about it.
it's important.
No,
Don't
I'll get her
forget.
something. I'll get her something. God. What
I'm
about you guys?
making some. I'm going to Hobby Lobby tomorrow to make my stuff, because I think for Mother's Day you have to kind of make it. You have to put.
I was gonna make something to eat. I was gonna roast a chicken.
I'm gonna make the money to buy.
I'm gonna make a rope basket, and then I'm gonna make in the rope basket. I'm gonna have like vegan cheese and vegan this and vegan that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roast a chicken, I think, with some veggies and potatoes at the bottom.
I'm gonna go up
All right.
to Jack's
It
place.
sounds good.
Have some
Sounds
chicken.
good.
Yeah, are we
No,
talking wife or
I'm
mom?
not vegan. She's vegan, so
All right.
Because you don't just buy for your mom, you also have to buy for your kids' mom, because they're not gonna buy shit. Fuck that.
Oh, and this is for Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, my mom. I'm gonna go. Hey, you don't owe me any money for paying for your phone bill. Oh, for the last however many years.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, so you're gonna talk to her. You're gonna talk to her, basically.
Right. But
Yeah.
but Rebecca, she's gonna get the whole rope basket with the vegan cheeses and all that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then he's gonna say that came from his 4-year-old.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
I'm gonna
not-
say, right,
Darcy,
right.
that's me. She's doing better, Darcy. She's doing better.
All right.
What about you, Mike? What are you doing for your mom?
Phone call, card, flowers.
Standard
Oh,
fare.
wait a minute. I see.
Standard
I see children.
How are they
Hi,
up
Michael.
at 11, Tom? That's like child abuse.
You're right. It's like I'm calling
Telling you.
CPS.
Hi,
Yeah, when I was a
Michael.
kid, speaking of like days, way back days, I used to
think-
be in bed when I was his age.
I mean,
Dude, I had to go to bed at
he's
7
He's up
p.m.
like when I watched Benny Hill's show when I was like
I had to
I
be
was
in
like
bed at
12,
7.
13.
Michael.
Is he
I had to go
gonna
to
watch
bed
the Benny Hill show?
At 8 o'clock, right after Star Trek. The original Star
The
Trek.
original Star Trek.
Right. The
Okay.
bald head guy.
No. I'm talking
That was Benny Hill's
William
dad.
Shatner.
Did you know?
I love that show, man. I love that.
You're talking Next Generation, which is like 20 years after the one that I was talking about.
You guys,
Oh,
way off the rails with Benny Hill and Star Trek.
Benny Hill. Remember having to stay up till 11 o'clock because it, for some reason, that came out, and you'd watch it just hoping that you'd see the boob one?
Well, there was a lot of burlesque in Benny Hill.
Oh my God. I forgot all about that show. That show was
That
hilarious.
was my favorite.
That's
That
what
was my
he's
favorite.
talking about, slapping the bald guy on the head. Yeah.
It's hilarious. That's so funny.
God. Jason, what are you doing for Mother's Day? Nothing.
Well, she
Let her
knows
live
I'm not
another year.
particularly grateful for being alive, so I'm just gonna let her know that I'm still kicking.
There you go. All right. Well, whatever
That'll work.
works.
You're an
Whatever
angel.
works. No, that kid's up. You may as well ask him.
Yeah, what's Michael doing for Mother's Day?
Michael who? Michael already
Christ.
said it.
He doesn't speak? What?
Little Michael.
Little Michael.
What are you gonna do?
Some cards.
Make some cards.
Yeah.
What a good
That's
boy.
awesome.
So how old is he? How old is he?
4.
4? Yeah.
Or
My boy's 4. He's 4 for
Max
another
is 4.
another 2 weeks. Another 2 weeks.
Little known fact, my 4-year-old is
Around
Michael,
this time,
Michael's
5 years ago, I was walking Rebecca around a hospital trying to like, hey, when are you gonna do this thing? When are you gonna do this thing? Come on. And then when the doctor came out, she was like, hey, we're gonna give her this shot and it's just gonna happen. And I was like, nah, I don't want that. I don't want any of that. I was like, we'll just wait. And then like 2 weeks later, she's like, hey, I think I feel something. And then she's like, let me do my hair first. So she gets her hair done. And I'm like, no, this is probably it. And she's like, I got to do my hair first.
it was 2
I
weeks
was like, that
later.
doesn't make any sense. Your hair's going to be all messed up anyway.
It's on drugs.
But anyway,
so-
she did her hair, and then we got her to the hospital. And within, I don't know, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, he was coming out. And I was like, is that an oyster? Is that the afterbirth? What is that? And it was a whole weird thing, man. The doctor just twisted him out like he was like, just
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. Remember?
I was like, is the baby still in there? Is that the baby? I had no idea what was going on.
I just saw a big blue head.
Green. He was green. My boy was green. He
Don't look
pooped.
into the sun, guys. Don't do that.
Yeah. You don't want to see what you did to it.
Look at Darcy's shirt. That's about all you got to see.
It's Flying Spaghetti Monster. Yep.
There you go. That about covers it.
I'm still
That
amazed.
about covers the birth.
Yeah. I'm still amazed to this day, and I know they don't hit it all the time, but how much they have the science down for predicting the birth date. So when my daughter was born, well, okay, so she was born May, third week of May. In October, the doctor's like, yeah, the due date is May 21st. I'm like, all right, whatever. That's a guess. She was born at 12:27 p.m. on May 21st with
So
no
there's a formula we use.
with no artificial 27 minutes. I mean,
As nurses.
12 noon, middle of the day, on day, 27 minutes off, 8 months out.
Well, I was supposed to be
they called
born
it.
on January the 1st, and I was born on January the 4th.
So
Holy
there's a
crap,
formula
I'm
that nurses
third,
use
dude.
for
I'm
this.
January 3rd.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Cool.
Yeah,
I know.
Hold on. I'm trying to tell you guys something.
Okay, we definitely have to go golfing. Just me and you.
Yep.
Just hang out.
Capricorns.
Go golfing.
Capricorns, man. I knew
So,
you were a
hold on.
Capricorn. I
So
knew
there's a
Darcy was a
formula
Capricorn.
with nursing that they
Jesus
use that's
Christ.
like super accurate. It's like
I'll be right back.
it's 10 days after I think
All right,
it's
I'm
10
leaving
days
too.
after their last. Okay, I don't give a shit. I'm going too.
Somebody told me to show. Watch out for that anvil, Mike.
I'm not telling you now. Fuckers. So it's 10 days after their last period, and then you add 7 months. Holy shit, he's got one of the phones.
You got the blue phone.
With the clips you can clip in.
The little clips.
No fucking way.
I'll let you borrow it.
I don't want to. It looks too bulky.
Okay, that was my favorite moment of the podcast of any episode when we all just got up and left.
Yeah, you guys are assholes. My favorite was when you droned on and on and on about BBS.
We'll see. Hey,
No,
listen.
Great topic, Mike. Great
We'll
topic.
see if
It was
we get
fascinating.
some comments. I mean, I just find it interesting that it's the same stuff, different day. Like it's the same. I see stuff today, and I'm like, we're dealing with the same stuff 40 years ago.
It's just a different flavor, yeah.
It's just different flavor, man. It's human
Where are
behavior.
these douchebags?
I don't know, man.
Well, Jack probably got lost on the way back from the bathroom, fucking old man that he is. And Jason's just an asshole.
So here's another thing that's coming up. Tax day is coming up.
Oh yeah.
We're really
but
running out of
nobody really made any money this year, so
It's 2
not
weeks
that
from
bad.
now.
It's not that bad. I made no money. So
That's good.
so what was it? Was it last year? Most of what I made was from money that was owed to me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that sucked.
Yeah.
All right, I think we should.
Oh, here he comes. Oh yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
I tapped out when I heard about golfing because we're Capricorns. That was when I was like,
Dude, I knew Darcy was a
You know, like-
Capricorn. I knew it. So here's an idea. I have an
hey
idea.
guys, once we start celebrating our zodiac signs, the podcast is done.
It's jumped the shark.
We did
Yeah,
tarot
stop.
cards last week. What are you talking about?
Hey, well, no, but the zodiac of like 6 dudes.
Yeah, that's a little.
Okay, here's
Little
a
little-
question. I
It's
got
a
an
little
idea.
gay. It's a
I
little
got-
gay.
I'm not using that term.
But it's just a little. It's just a little.
It's
It's
just a
not
little.
all the way. It's not all the
No,
way.
wait. What happened to Jason?
Just a little.
That is Jason. That is an actual representation.
Transformed.
Jason's chakras right there.
He's
No,
on a
but
higher
see,
plane.
Is he coming back?
Eventually. So here's a question. I got an
I thought
idea.
Zeus was walking us off. He said, "Oh, we should wrap it up." Or
No, but I
whatever.
have an idea. Since it's
No,
May
no
the
spider.
4th, since it's May the 4th, why don't we take 2 minutes and talk about our favorite Star Wars story, or when we first saw Star Wars, or something about Star Wars.
Oh, I
All
got
right.
Oh,
But you got
let me
3
go.
minutes, no more than 3
Let me go.
minutes. Okay, you can go
Yeah.
first. Darcy's up.
Okay. so Star Wars, when it first started, I had nothing to do with it. First of all, because I was too young to really understand when the first Star Wars movie came out. So my first Star Wars movie was Empire Strikes Back. And what happened was there was a guy that my mom was dating, and I think my mom went somewhere for a couple of days or whatever. She wasn't just dating; he like lived with us or whatever. But anyway, he took me and my brother to see Empire Strikes Back in Falls Church at some little theater in Falls Church, and I thought that was the neatest thing, man. I was like blown away because I hadn't really seen anything. I think I was like 8 or maybe something like that.
83.
I thought that was
You were about 13.
no, that was in the 70s. I want to say
Empire was 80. Empire was 80.
Empire was
Okay.
80.
Star Wars
Okay,
was
so maybe it
77.
was 1980. It was as soon as it came out. He took us to see that for a matinee, and I thought that was the neatest thing.
So mine involves Candy, who you guys have all met, or Kathy. She goes by both. But
Your sister?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like,
Candy.
this was for Empire Strikes Back. We go to the movie, and she had just been born, and my parents decided to take her to the movies with us because that's what you did then. You know what I mean? It was the whole family went out, and she screamed and cried through the whole movie not through the whole movie, to a point where my dad had to take her out and miss the movie. He was so pissed. I was like, take her out. I want to watch it.
This was Star Wars?
I want to say it was Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
I was about 10. Yeah, but it was hilarious. He was so pissed, and he loves her. She was his baby girl, or he loved her. But he was not pleased with her that night.
Yeah.
What about you, Jack?
I've got too many Star Wars stories to name one, but I can remember. I remember seeing the original in the theater with my parents, and I remember vividly coming home one day from grammar school, and my dad was home because he was a fireman, so he would have some days he'd work at night, right? So he was home, and we had gone to Toys R Us, and they had Chewbacca, Darth Vader, and a stormtrooper were there in costume, like in the full body costumes, whatever. And we waited online outside Toys R Us for like hours, just like we did to go see the movie, because the lines at the theater were unbelievable. And we got in, and I think I got like a little toy truck or whatever. And Chewbacca like rubbed my head. I had like a big bushy curly haired whatever, and I was so elated. I must have been what year did it come out? Like 78,
77, May 77.
So I was like 6 years old. I was like ecstatic, and I remember one day I came home from grammar school, elementary school, and I did my homework. My dad said, do your homework and then come meet me in the kitchen when you're done. And he must have snuck off, because at the same time we went to Toys R Us, the action figures had come out like in the little like Star Wars cardboard backboard with the character picture on it and all this shit. And when they first came out, there were like 8 of them.
Yeah.
And he got all 8 of them, and he had them on display on the kitchen table, like in the things. And he said,
Wow.
these are yours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was the coolest thing my dad ever did for me, you
That's
know,
awesome.
sadly. But yeah, it was great.
Oh, yeah.
It was great.
What about feeding you?
No,
Yeah, that
this
was cool.
better.
Plus,
this was better.
he had to do the whole thing that like made you know. But I guess that was more for him.
I think it was 8. The original release was like 8, maybe.
Yeah.
I think there was like 8 of them. Yeah, but he got them all.
3PO, Leia.
Han Solo,
Do
Darth Vader.
you remember how heated it got after a while, when it was like you had to get the Hoth Luke, and you had to get Tauntaun and the Millennium Falcon?
Oh yeah, no, I had them all. I
God.
was hooked.
Yeah,
I
made fun of those kids that had all that stuff. I I was not I wasn't a star anything, you know. I was like, okay, whatever.
See,
I remember my dad.
became.
He took me to some Star Trek convention, and I met Uhura. That was pretty cool.
Those
I
are the
think
best.
back then I was like 7 or 8 years old.
Those are the best.
What is Uhura's claim to fame? Does anybody know?
No, what?
She was the
Oh,
communications officer on the Enterprise.
She thought of the
Star Trek.
idea of something.
No. She's the first interracial kiss on TV. Her and Kirk.
There were other things that she did. There was.
But that's big. That's huge. That's like amazing. Like
I remember she thought of the idea of some new show or something, but that was
that's pretty impressive. That I mean, at the time.
Well, she
that's
didn't
like
write
that's
the
like
show.
a low bar for impressive. I know you don't get it, Zeus, but it's
What's
a
that?
low bar. That's like a low bar for impressive stuff.
And I don't think so. I don't. It hadn't been done until then. Literally had not been done until then.
That like shouldn't be a thing.
It shouldn't. You're right.
It was a thing.
It was a thing, but it shouldn't be a thing.
Absolutely.
Let's all go out on a limb and say it shouldn't be a thing. It was a thing.
You're being pretty brave
no,
there,
it was
Darcy.
a thing, but it shouldn't be a thing.
It shouldn't be a thing.
Okay.
Yet it is.
All right.
But there were some a-holes at the time that were like turning off the TV, like screw this.
That's why it was a thing.
Not here.
I mean, they're not here,
thing.
but they're still here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's less. There's less.
That's why it was. That's why it was
an elected show. There were not.
That's why
there was like way too many.
That's why it was a thing. Jesus,
I love this.
Christ,
this is the best.
Wait a minute.
We were totally like this.
Okay.
Wait, what about Tom? Star Wars.
Okay. Yep.
The one in the theater was the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, because that's what I thought that was. I thought that was a Death Star.
Yes, it looks like the Death Star.
Right.
No, it's not a moon.
It's a space station.
Because I was like, that's a moon or something. Right.
Oh, this thing.
Off the rails.
Welcome to the party, pal.
All right, so Tom's Star Wars story is he's got a microphone that looks like Death Star. That's awesome.
It's going to blow up if this goes past 2 hours here.
Yeah, I think we
Jason,
should.
what about you?
He's got a third eye. Okay,
So
real quick.
around her head, though.
All right, so who's? I think it's time to sign off, boys.
Well, I got a Star Wars story.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So I do remember going to see Star Wars. I was only like 5.5 years old.
Go ahead, Mom.
Winchester, Virginia. But here's the Star Wars story.
My favorite place. One of my favorite places in West Virginia,
Winchester.
It's it's an outdoor
it's the rifle. It's the Winchester gun range.
Why can I cannot think of the name of the place.
The Apple Blossom Festival.
No, it's a range.
Darcy is so excited this episode.
I was only 5. I don't remember.
It's the sphincter.
Okay. So here.
Yeah, as long as your name is some girl.
Sphincter.
So here's the story, and Zeus may have seen this.
Wait, just kidding.
So by the time Empire came out, I was living in Baltimore, and like at Kmart or someplace, they had this thing like, come meet Darth Vader, like what Jack was talking about.
Yeah.
So my mom, I was like, got to go see Darth Vader. Lined up, went in, and they were handing out these like 8.5 by 11, Lucasfilm, studio shot of Darth Vader, and this like 18-year-old kid in a Darth Vader outfit, like he signed it for me, like Darth Vader.
I was like,
so fast forward. So
he didn't do it without his hand. He didn't go.
No, he used a Sharpie. And I'm thinking
What
that's
a
I'm at
bitch.
Darth Vader, right? So fast forward to 1997, I guess, when the special editions came out in the theaters.
Yeah.
I'm working at the Sender Theater in Baltimore, and their Empire Strikes Back is the second special edition thing to come out. And the guy that owns the theater had invited David Prowse. This was like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the
Wow.
Sender Theater, but it's like a 1,000 seat, built in 1939, Art Deco, beautiful theater.
Which one was it again?
I'm sorry?
Which one?
The
It's
Senator.
like the old movie houses, like the
Like the
theater
Uptown.
on Connecticut Avenue,
Like
like
Uptown.
the
Like the Uptown, yeah. So he invited David Prowse. David Prowse comes to the first night of Empire. So I'm working there, and I'm like, the guy that owns the theater, he's got all this paraphernalia. He's like, I'm gonna get David Prowse to like sign this stuff. I go digging through my crap. I find the freaking 8.5 by 11 that I had signed from 1980, and I bring it to the theater to have David Prowse sign it. And he looks at it and he's like, wow,
I already signed this.
I haven't, no, that would have been good. He's like, I haven't seen one of these. And he tells me that the image is like this dude that's like really skinny. It's not him in the suit in this like studio thing. So he signs it like right under the other guy. He's like, David Prowse, the real Darth Vader. Like, so I have both autographs. So I actually finally got to meet Darth Vader. So I got it.
Wow.
I'll have to bring it in.
I don't
How
believe
big
it.
was-
Show us.
How big was he?
Oh, David Prowse is like 6'6". He was like a bodybuilder.
He was
I mean, he
Chewbacca
died
and
this
Darth
year.
Vader.
He just died a couple months ago. What?
Yeah, he did.
Chewbacca
What,
and Darth Vader.
about a year ago.
Oh, was
No,
it a year?
no. Chewbacca was a different guy.
No?
Chewbacca
Okay.
was a different guy. David Prowse was Darth Vader.
Okay.
David
Yeah.
Prowse was Darth Vader.
To do
Chewbacca
those
was a different.
reenactments.
Oh,
No,
hey, Michael.
Chewbacca was
Michael's-
Peter Mayhew.
Oh,
Yes.
you're right. You're right. Peter Mayhew.
So anyway, so
He
I got.
he died like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yes.
So
yes.
I was
they
as
both
excited as
They
a.
both
See, I
died.
was 20. I was 25. I was as excited as a 25-year-old as I was as a 8-year-old.
All right. Well, let me ask you guys something, Star Wars fans, because I was one big time, and then Lucas destroyed me,
He's a
And-
disaster.
and then Kathleen Kennedy just pissed on my grave. But The Mandalorian, has anybody watched it?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
Have you
All
seen
right,
it?
so- no.
It's-
Jack, oh my
It's
God,
good.
I'm so
Yeah,
envious
dude.
of you. You haven't
Dude,
seen The
I'm
Mandalorian?
jealous that
I'm jealous.
I wish I could be in your same
I
position.
wish I was you
and I
right
have
now.
not seen it.
All right, I can tell you that. No, the truth is, I watched the first 2 episodes of season 1,
Keep
and
going.
I liked it. And I liked it because it was like a western. The way it's
Yes, if you
supposed
love
to be.
westerns, it's even better.
And if you love
But-
westerns, I'll go back to you got to watch Firefly at some point. That show is amazing too.
All right,
The
all right,
episode
you
of
guys-
Unfortunately,
you guys-
Firefly
it
looks
did-
like a show that never
that-
finished, and that's
right.
exactly what it was.
Yeah, I
so
can't.
don't bother.
But
Jack,
Mandalorian,
watching it.
yes.
watch one a week, spread it out. Episode 2, the episode with Bill Burr in it. I don't
Bill
think
Burr
you
is
get
so
it.
good on that show.
Firefly
I
was
don't-
the first show that I downloaded on my video iPod.
The
Yeah,
Mandalorian
you told us the story, Darcy,
All right, fuck you.
on this podcast.
Dude, I can't believe you have. I'm so envious. That is
All
awesome.
right.
Because now we're just
All right,
waiting for
I'll
the
watch
next one.
it. May the 4th. All right, for May the 4th, I'll watch The Mandalorian. All right,
Yeah.
I'll watch
The
it.
end of
And
the
then-
season
and then-
is amazing.
And then for Tom, I'll watch Frozen. I swear to God, I'll watch
I've
Frozen.
seen it.
Frozen is
2.
awesome. Frozen is awesome.
Frozen is
No.
great, man.
Don't watch Frozen 2.
Frozen
Oh.
2 is good,
I
man.
like Frozen too.
No.
That was good.
No, I'll watch.
Oh,
no, I'm only
and we
gonna
started
watch
watching
one.
a new movie tonight. It was like the
Soul.
Smiths
Watch
versus
Soul.
the Machines or something like that on Netflix.
What else did you guys watch? Steel Magnolias?
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
I told you about Tread. You gotta watch Tread. That's great.
No,
Pretty Woman?
Oh, no, yeah, no, we can't do it again, guys. We've been on for a while. I'm signing off.
Where's Jason?
All right, let's stop recording.
And there's
Jason-
goes the curmudgeon.
Jason
the
has
first
entered
one.
the astral plane.
Stop
Apparently.
recording.
Oh man.
No.
Oh no, I'm
Adios.
recording until the last person drops off.
Mwah.
Okay, well,
See you, buddy.
Bye, Darcy.
all right, guys. See you later.
It always ends like this.
Yes, it does.
Recording.
I like it though. All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
All right.
Gotta put the
Bye,
kids
Tom.
to bed.
Take it easy, Tom.